Hello and welcome everyone to Ananke's Literature Festival. This is the seventh edition of the festival, now rebranded as Ananke Literature Festival, formerly Ananke Women's and Literature Festival. So this time around, the theme of the event is fault lines and unmasking, where we explore the different visible and invisible fractures within our families, our communities, and globally. Uh, this session's topic is technology and truth, digital media as mirror and mask. And I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Naheed Maalik and Awais Khan. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Sabine. Great to be here.
Thanks,
So,
Sabine.
You're very welcome, both of you. So today's session will explore the interplay of technology, storytelling, and perception, focusing on how digital media reveals, distorts, or hides the truth. So the core question we're going to discuss today with both Naheed and Awais. I'll put on this question first, but I would love it if both of you, Naheed and Awais, you can introduce yourself before answering. So my question is, does technology expand our capacity for empathy and truth, or does it merely multiply the masks we wear and the illusions we inhabit? So let's go alphabetically. Awais, you first. I've put you on a
Uh,
spot.
Thank you so much, Sabine. Great to be here. And I am an author of four novels published in the UK. My fifth one is out in February 2027. I am I'm a TED speaker. I've been profiled in Forbes and BBC and all of that. But I also teach creative writing. I've been teaching creative writing for over 10 years, and yeah, I also edit. So I've worked with over 100 authors on polishing and honing their manuscripts. So that's what I do, and that's what I'm known for. So yeah, and yes, the question, yes. So I feel that it's a bit of a digital media is a bit of a two-edged sword, double-edged sword. Uh, it does increase our capacity for empathy because look at if you remember there was this story about that monkey. What was it called? I can't remember. The baby monkey that was shunned by its family
Yeah.
and the whole society. I've forgotten its name now. Punch, was it? Yeah, probably Punch. So I could see the empathy from across the world. Everyone was totally following that monkey, and people were very emotional about it. So I think, and same with that whale, that story of the whale, and then I mean, if we come to humans, there was this. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, there's always if someone notices some sort of an abuse or something happening, so people do rally around and they do support people. So I think it does improve our capacity for empathy, but then again, it also is a big mask as well. And that's the thing, because of social media and because of digital media, people don't really know your real self. And that's something Naheed and I talked about when we met as well, that social media is a big fat lie, honestly. So yeah, so I'm very interested in discussing this more with Naheed. So yeah.
Okay, so hi, I'm Naheed, and I have worked in communications all my life. Also worked as a magazine journalist years ago, and now I run a communications and PR agency. It's called The Loop, and it's based in Dubai. I also write for a living, and I'm also trying to build a portfolio of writing and doing my master's in creative writing. So maybe Awais can be my editor someday.
Sure.
Okay, going to your question. So you also said technology. So there are two things, technology and digital media. Now, technology and empathy, I think, are just polar opposites because the way technology is constantly evolving and the evolution is literally changing the job landscape. This morning I was reading, in the US, 140,000 people have been fired from tech firms because all the money is now being put into AI and data centers. And obviously, again, if you go too deep into data centers, they are an environmental risk. So if something is an environmental risk, it's not obviously empathy. There's no empathy in that. So technology by its very nature, I think, you can't say there's any empathy. It's commerce. It's just economic need. It has become economic need. As far as digital media is concerned, yeah, social media, it has its pros and cons. I think we have just taken it too far. When I say we, I mean human race. We've become very dependent on it. We've become addicted to it. We see people through the lens of social media, which is a big, yeah, as Wes said, it's a big fat lie, mostly. Yeah, and when you say authenticity works, it works, but even authenticity now is curated. I just feel, you follow some people and you think, oh wow, okay, they look real, but then are they? And sometimes you meet them in real life and you think, no, they aren't what they look like. So I don't think technology and digital media are making us empathetic. Yes, there are causes that social media promotes, and there's more awareness for that. The biggest thing is Palestine, the cause of Palestine. I think
Yeah.
the whole, conversation around that, the support that we see in the West now, I think that's how they get their information. Because mainstream media, we all know, UK,
Oh, yeah.
US, all the Western media, you don't get the correct picture of what's happening. It is through
No,
people on the ground.
and it's the same case for Pakistan as well. For decades, Pakistan has been portrayed so negatively in the media. And if you ask most people when I was a student, I remember in Canada, and the people had no idea that Pakistan had cities and that Pakistan was, that people had cars and houses there and all of that. They actually genuinely thought that Pakistan was a bunch of, just shantytown and that's it, crime and murder and this and that, because this is the image perpetrated by the media. And you're right that social media at least does expose certain, it exposes people to the truth and reality in some cases. Like, for example, these travel journalists these days, they're doing a phenomenal job of raising awareness about South Asian countries and Pakistan. And I absolutely love following them on TikTok and all of that. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right that technology in is definitely not our friend in this in the sense that it's not built to support humans, rather take from them. But and like with social media as well, although it's all fake and everything, but still I feel that it's connected us so much. And like we wouldn't have met if it weren't for social media. And there's so
Yes.
many other people that we I would never have met and I would never have known if it weren't for Instagram and TikTok. And while I don't like the whole thing about followers and how many followers someone has, how what kind of content they're posting, and whether you should, what kind of message they're giving, that I feel is goes into that fake territory where you're portraying a certain image of yourself on social media, and people believe that image rather than the real you. And that I think needs I don't know how to change it and how to do anything about it. But people misconceive a lot when it comes to social media. Like, for example, I'll give you my own example. I have a good following on Instagram and everything, and I post about my books and stuff and whatever I do. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking I'm very rich. And I'm like, I am not rich at all. I mean, what gives you the idea? And if they see me somewhere, they'll be like, "Oh, you can send us free copies. You have plenty of money. You have this and that." I'm like, "No, I don't actually." So this is what I mean by when I say that social media is a bit of a lie, and real life is not like that at all.
So there are a few things, Wes, where I'd like to comment about what you talked about. So social media digital media basically has taken over advertising the way it was. We've all grown up in the age of radio advertising, TV ads, print ads, and now
Mm.
it's just influencers.
Yeah.
and they are selling. And when I say influencers, they're bloggers, influencers, whatever, influencer is now a dirty word. They don't want to be called influencers, but
Yeah.
essentially they're selling things, you know. They are, and one good thing that's come out of this from a Pakistani woman's point of view is a lot of women found a way to earn money without really stepping out too much out of the
Yeah. Yeah.
houses. And there is, very weirdly, there is less sort of comments if they're dressed okay. I mean, our people are really obsessed with women's dressing, but if they're dressed okay, then there's less comments on women putting themselves on social media. And they develop these followers, and then they make money out of it. So I see it as a positive thing for women from developing countries, just specifically that case. But why social media followers and all that, it's all economics. It's how, people buy followers because they want to show that they have bigger number of followers. Um, uh, I've run social media campaigns with influencers for my clients, and you actually track, each one, okay, how many have seen and how many have engaged and etc. And you couldn't do that with regular advertising, 10 years ago. So I see the economic point of view. But at the same time, how much of it is real? Did we take the advertising very seriously? We didn't, we took it with a pinch of salt. We didn't just believe, whatever we saw on TV and went out and bought it. Some people did, but you did your research. What's happening with social media is people think, okay, it's a real person saying, oh, all right, this is a great, somebody who cuts hair very well, go to her, blah, blah. And people will just follow that. So it's not just about authenticity. It's also about the belief in the product that they're trying to sell. And when you come to your work, authors, um, I work with a publisher. I've I have publishers as friends, and for writers now, it's important to be on social media. You
Yeah.
know, you won't find a publisher if you're not active on social media, if you don't
So
have enough followers. So marketing has become a part of your job besides writing a good book, which is sort of sad.
it is. It is very sad, and you're absolutely 100% right about everything you've just said. That it is all about when we, and I have fallen prey to that myself. I remember that I saw a story on Instagram about a cologne, and it was a man promoting it, and I bought the cologne, and I messaged him. I was like, it was actually a friend. I was like, I bought it on your recommendation. He's like, it's this one is actually for ladies. It's not for men. He's like, I'm only promoting it. I'm like, what? I'm like, what am I going to do with it? So then I ended up giving it to my mother. But that's the thing that you're absolutely right that we believe the person who's promoting it, and like I
Yeah,
immediately bought it. So yeah, so in that regard, that I feel that the advertising we saw on television and all of that, that went through certain processes, like uh, it was vetted in a way, rather than just displayed. But nowadays, you could promote anything and everything, and people would respond to it, and there's no way to check. I especially feel concerned about medical things related to medicine, or
exactly.
herbal
Exactly.
things and all of
Or
that.
or
Like,
very young people using social media. Now,
yes,
UAE has put this restriction on the 16s. A lot of
yeah, that's
countries have
great.
now. I mean, thankfully,
Australia
I
as
don't
well,
know
I think.
how it's going to be implemented because
Yeah,
implementation is tough.
it is. But I think,
Uh,
but I think the law, if it's the law, puts off most of the people anyway. It puts most of the people off from doing it anyway.
yeah.
But you're right. Obviously, there'll be a lot of people who do get through.
Kids are so much smarter than us. They are digital natives.
Yeah,
So
which
teenagers,
I
they
yeah. Which I feel that
find a
is
way.
is not exactly a very good thing either, because they lack in a lot of places because of the whole dependence on social media and digital media. So I feel that they're very lacking in other aspects of life that we grew up with, and they're
Of
not very
course, yeah.
street smart. A lot of these kids are not very street smart at all. They will kind of like, and they'll not be into sports as much as we were back in the day and all of these stuff. So I feel that social media does have its uses, but only when uh, it's only if you don't let it take over your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because for younger, I think the risks are immense, because in
Yeah.
the UK, you may have read about this. There've been so many cases of young girls, because we all know girls can be mean in their teenage years, but on social media, because there's no one checking it, there can be all kind of bullying, and there've been suicide cases, and so it's really a black hole, once you start going into that.
Yeah.
It's really, really dangerous, unsupervised use of social media for young people. But even
Oh,
for
yeah.
us, adults, what I'm seeing now, and I personally know some people who have been diagnosed with adult ADHD, attention deficiency, and I, I'm like, all right, was it always there or is it technology? That's because we all
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of
Yeah.
feel that in our lives, we can't live without our phones. We are away from our phone for like 10 minutes and we want to grab it and just see any new
Mm.
notifications, which is really, really
Yeah.
unhealthy. And that
It
does
is.
things to our brain and short circuits it, and attention deficiency happens.
You're right. And I feel that it's also made us a lot more, I mean, overly sensitive in a way, because I feel that, like you say, notifications and things, and even down to emojis, that if an emoji does not accompany a certain message, people sort of misconstrue it. They will think that you're being mean in some way or being offensive in some way if you don't use that happy face emoji next to your, and there are certain, I mean, with the younger people especially, there's certain emojis they get very triggered by. So there's this smirking emoji. A lot of my friends are like, don't send us this, we get triggered with the smirking emoji. I'm like, it's
Mm.
just an emoji. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be that deep. So that is also, you see, this is like you said, that we're so deeply involved in the world of social media that sometimes the message itself sounds really strong, even though it's not. Even though if you were sitting face to face, it wouldn't have been strong at all, and it would just have been a conversation. But because it's over email or over message, it seems like really, really
Yeah.
like something explosive has happened.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And again, we talked about children, but when you talk about, older people, our parents, they are using
yeah,
social media. And
yeah,
for them, social media is another, I find it uh, almost dangerous for
Not
a
yeah.
mother
It
to
is
almost,
be on
dangerous.
social
not
media.
almost, not almost. It's really dangerous because they cannot determine what is
Scam
fake news and
Scammers
what.
are rampant on social media, and they've scammed so many people with
Yeah.
this.
Exactly, exactly. And misinformation, especially in the last few months here in Dubai, my mom would, frantically call me or my brother, both of us live here. Oh, Burj Khalifa is gone. I'm like, no. So
Even
that kind
now,
of
even
thing.
now, even now, we came out watching the Odyssey, and we got a call from, our family back home in Pakistan, and we said, "Oh, we just came out watching this movie," and they said, "Oh, that means everything is okay," and I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, everything is
Yeah,
okay."
that's the thing. And AI, I think, has contributed a lot towards this. AI, because of the AI videos and AI images. I mean, even I get fooled sometimes. My younger brother's like, "Are you crazy? This is AI." I'd send them a video of, I don't know, a parrot, using swear words or something like that. And I'm like, look how funny the parrot is. Like, this is actually AI. And there's so much other, stuff animals are doing that they wouldn't do. And I sometimes even I get, fooled. So I shudder to imagine what people from the older generation, they must be
And
like, like
but
sea
they're
of
addicted to
misinformation.
social media. At least my mother, you
Yeah, they
know,
are.
Yeah, they
thank
are.
God she hasn't discovered Instagram and TikTok, but Facebook, WhatsApp, all those
Yeah,
WhatsApp groups. And so honestly, the world has changed so much in the last 10, 15 years because it's one thing after another. So yes, I
absolutely.
really appreciate the fact that I've met people who I wouldn't have met like you.
Yeah,
But at the same time, what were we doing with our time before social media?
that's
We were doing
something.
better
Yeah, I
stuff,
mean,
I think.
that's the thing. I mean, I grew up. I was a kid in the '90s, and I think about it, and I'm like, that world seems like
Exactly.
generations ago now, and I'm like, what
Exactly.
what did I even do with my time? Because I remember the other day I was meeting friends and we were talking that when I went to college, that's when I first had a mobile, and that mobile was only for speaking, like the occasional call. Like once a day, my parents would call me from home. That's it. I did
A
not use it.
Nokia.
Yes, it was like the tiny Nokia phone, and
Yeah.
I couldn't even text message on that. It was that, very rudimentary.
You
And
had
it
to
wasn't
go
until
through 12 buttons.
exactly. And
The age of BlackBerry.
and then BlackBerry came in, and I was like, I think I went to smartphones. Uh, I migrated to smartphones only in 2011, I think, or 12, something like that, or 13 maybe.
I
So
think we all
before
did
that,
around that time,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
smartphones got
yeah.
hold of
Before
us.
that, it was
I got
BB.
my first
Yeah,
smartphone through work. And at that point, around 2011 or something, I was like,
yeah,
oh, all right, very happy about it. And then I saw within like a month how bad it was because I
yeah,
was then a servant
Yeah.
24/7 because I
yeah.
had an
Wait.
office smartphone.
Yeah.
I could access emails on it. So,
I I remember 2005. I was when I went to college, and I had that black and white, very small rudimentary phone. And there would be people, some of my classmates, they would also have the small ones, but their screen would be colored. And I'm like, how is that even possible that they have these small colored screens? And I was like, what would it feel like to have something like this? And
uh,
look at how the world has progressed now, and
yeah,
everyone has
yeah,
that and huge screens now. So,
yeah.
so yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you both, we're talking about again, fake news and disinfo, misinfo. So this is a very fabricated, hyper artificial landscape. How do we navigate? How do content creators navigate? And I'm talking about, authors as well and journalists as well. How do we navigate as far as this landscape is concerned?
Uh, I feel that it's very necessary for us to own our truths, and where possible, I do try that on social media, in real time events. Whenever I meet people in events and stuff, I always leave a disclaimer that please don't believe my social media. It is all fake. I am not like that in real life. I am like real life is very tough. It's full of ugly surprises. It's full of things you have to do, errands you have to run, and you get that opportunity to for just a moment, maybe you get the opportunity to show that everything is fine, and you get the opportunity to believe that everything is fine. So I feel that it's important to for our mental health to, yes, do whatever we want on social media, but also leave a disclaimer that whatever this is, it's not 100% real. So please take it with a pinch of salt. And that's something I really like about a lot of authors I've noticed over the years, that they will always, whenever they get a big deal or something, like a six-figure deal or seven-figure deal, they will always leave a disclaimer that this happened because of 20 years of hard work, 20 years of patience. And this just didn't happen all of a sudden, because that's what people looking in feel. That's how they feel. They're like, oh, this person just got this mega deal, and he's made it in life. But you have to also look at how they did it, and how many years they struggled, and how many years they worked so hard, and how many rejections they faced, how many failed books they had to endure before this book deal happened. So I feel
Mm.
that writers do that. So that's the thing. It's very important to own your truth on social media and digital media.
What about you, Nahid? Especially coming,
Yeah.
uh, belonging to, the communications and PR, where, not fabricated, but it's all shiny. So how do you navigate?
It's stories, yeah. And
Yeah,
mostly it's good stories because nobody
yeah,
wants to hear bad stories.
yeah.
Um, well, again, if I talk about myself, I use LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, what we are seeing now is a lot of AI. It's just
Hmm.
full of
Yeah,
AI,
yeah.
especially the past 3, 4 months. Everyone is using Claude or whatever they're using, and everything sounds the same. So personally, when I post, and I haven't posted in 2 months, but I used to be quite regular with posting, I would share my experiences, and try and be as real as possible and saying what I'm saying and try to give some value to the reader. Because if you talk about LinkedIn, it has to be something of value. Why would somebody read your post unless they're learning something,
Yeah.
So little bits of information about communications, about, how to um, be on social media effectively and or write a press release or that kind of thing. As for, using social media for PR, personally, our agency, we don't do it, mainly because, we didn't grow up with that. Both my business partner and myself, we are Gen X, we aren't comfortable with it. Uh, but I have, however, worked with some influencers because some of the clients insisted, on a particular woman who's quite big here. They wanted to get her. But it's also fake, and it's also, I found it very uncomfortable because she used her very young daughter to run the campaign, you know. Um, it was a jewelry brand, and she took her 8-year-old daughter to go shopping and bought her a necklace, and it was all out. And I mean, all of it makes me very uncomfortable. Because, and a lot of influencers, social media content producers are using their children. And to me, it's an ethical issue because you don't own your children. Sorry, but you don't own your children. Your child can grow up in 10 years, 20 years' time and say, okay, you didn't have my permission, you know? So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Secondly, I think you're putting your kids at risk when you're doing that. There are all kinds of people out there. Why would you
Yeah.
do that? Uh, so these are things that I've personally seen during my work. So that's there. And obviously, as I said, AI. Oh my God, the use of AI to, as OS said, create something that looks real, but also to write content where I know people who, I'm sorry, but you're not a writer. And how is this thing, 3 paragraphs of, and when you start reading it, it's all mumbo jumbo. It's just repetition of words, and it's just, at the beginning, it sounds like, oh, all right, okay, this is something good. But no, it's not. And if you're a writer, I think you can immediately tell,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's
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 very
not
easy to do.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think
yeah, go on, go on, go
no, no.
on.
I just wanted to say that AI has not progressed to that level as far as literature is concerned. That it's completely
Wait a
that
few years,
yeah.
Awais.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But right now, I because I edit a lot as well, so I work with a lot of authors, and I can tell when they've used AI.
Yeah, yeah,
I ask them point blank, I'm like, have you used AI? Just tell me the truth. And they're like, yeah, we have. I'm like, it's totally obvious here. And I was like, if you want to make something of yourself, of your writing, then, please do not think of AI because not only is it unethical, you're ending your career because nobody will ever take you
yeah,
seriously if you're using AI to write novels. I mean, what is the actual point of that? If creative writing is meant to be a creative exercise. It's the whole point of creative writing is that you write it. If you're asking a machine or a robot to write it, then why even bother in the first place? We all know that there's no money in this anyway. So I don't know. Maybe people think that there are billions in this. There aren't. So I don't know what exactly pushes them to use AI to
It's
write novels.
it's vanity. It's vanity, everybody likes to say, okay, I've written a book, and
Yeah,
not
yeah,
everybody
yeah,
can write a book,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
That's
that. But uh, you can, as you said, you can immediately tell. Plus, I think writing is a pleasure. I mean, you enjoy writing. That's why you've written 4 books. I mean, you enjoy
yeah,
your
yeah,
type of writing. I
yeah,
absolutely.
enjoy my type of writing. Why would I outsource a pleasurable activity to a robot?
Yeah,
Why would I do
absolutely.
that?
yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And I also think uh, how AI is being used, there are a lot of things that we can do with AI, especially, and I keep talking about because I am one of those people who really think that, leveraging it as a tool, especially if you're a small entity, with so many menial things and, with tight budgets and so on and so forth, you can actually leverage it. You can create agents and do your menial work. You create, like, this festival. I do work with Claude, and I work with Copilot, and I work with Gemini, but that work entails, you know, uh, creating a checklist, what needs to be done, what I've missed, what emails need to go in, these things. I don't have uh, like a team, 20 people working for me. So you can leverage, and we're basically looking at it or using it for something. We're not using it properly.
Admin
Hmm.
tasks. What you're making it do is admin tasks, you
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
and that's what it's great for. Or
Yeah.
even, when you're
Exactly.
writing, it's great for proofreading. So I use
Absolutely.
Grammarly
Yes.
because
Yes.
proofreading, you can't proofread your own work. I find I can't proofread. I just
Exactly.
miss it.
Yeah.
And, things like that. So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to anything creative,
Yeah.
just do it
Yeah.
yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, you were talking about, uh, people using their kids, and that brings me to a very important topic. And Awais, you being an influencer, uh, you know, uh, there's this.
Awareness is not selling things.
No, but
No, you
his
know,
words influence his,
yeah, I mean, I've built a following and everything, but I'll be very honest with you. I've never been paid a single penny in my life
I
for.
know, I know. No, not
I
influencer
mean, I
in
would
that
love to
sense.
be paid. That's what I'm saying. I would love for
Yeah.
someone to, pay
Yes,
me, but nobody
exactly.
does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
That's a
yeah,
wish I have as
yeah,
well. Yeah. But
yeah,
influencer in the sense that, your
yeah,
words
yeah, yeah. I
influence,
understand. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's really important what kind of digital footprint you have, right? And Nahid, with you, influencers or people using their kids, and inadvertently these kids having a digital footprint. uh, how does one navigate that, especially in the age of shadow banning as well, algorithmic biases and surveillance?
Hmm. I feel that it's to echo Nahid's ideas here that it's very important that you can take ownership for yourself, and that's about it, only for yourself. You may have noticed that on my public social media, I don't post about my family at all. Not even a single mention of them. I did in the past once or twice, but that's the thing. What Nahid says, that there were so many ugly, dirty messages that I got from people. I had no idea who those people were. Just random followers, and I posted a Mother's Day post and a story, and it was my mother's, you know, uh, yeah, she was married very young, and I'm the eldest. And you cannot imagine the kind of
Oh,
dirty and ugly messages I got. And from that day, I decided that no, I am just not going to post anything about my family on my public platform. And I think that has to be something that people have to do that by take a decision by themselves, that we cannot put our families at risk like this just for likes or anything like that. And I didn't even do it for the likes. I genuinely just posted it thinking that it's a
Yeah.
Mother's Day post, and what
yeah.
what harm could come from it. And then I realized that no, social media is literally social in the way that every type of person is on them, on
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
Yeah, everybody has access to it. And
exactly.
what really bothers me is in a country like Pakistan and other developing countries where the level of education is still not there. People
Yeah,
have suddenly gone from 1 to 100.
Yeah.
They can't even read, some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I visit Karachi and I see, people working in my mom's house, all of them have some kind of a smartphone and they're on TikTok and whatever. And
yeah.
and
TikTok, all
they're
of them.
literally illiterate. And suddenly you have access to this, and obviously they have opinions and they have a certain way of looking at things, and they would look at a picture and why would you expose yourself or your family to that? That's my question, because you can't control your audience.
No.
But the what I'm talking about, Sabine, going back to your question, using your children, it's not just one case. If you go on Instagram, and especially in Dubai context, there are so many women, content creators who create content with the young children, and they have like 200,000, 300,000 influencers, even more than that. And I'm sure they're
Mm.
being paid because they're selling everything from kitchen utensils to restaurants to, hotel stays or whatever. And it's attractive because, it's a good-looking family, the woman with a husband, the husband's also part of it. So I'm really amazed at those
Yeah.
husbands as well. My husband would disown me if I asked him to do anything like that.
Exactly.
Not that I would do it. But it's I think it's become an economics thing, and there are people who do a day job. And again, I worked with these people who have day jobs and then they do it on the side. And they're making a tidy sum out of it because I've
Yeah.
paid these people. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, that's
It's really
tempting.
tempting though.
Yeah, yeah. But no, there's a price tag attached to it,
Yeah. Yeah.
besides what you see,
True.
there's a big
True.
price tag.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it.
And
So,
surveillance,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
surveillance. You talked about the surveillance, and
Yes.
that's again one thing that social media has, and not just social media, really technology.
Yeah.
Our phones listen to us. You're constantly scared of, and again,
True. Yeah.
people putting their phones on airplane mode and then talking about sensitive stuff. God, I mean, why did it come to this, that you can't even talk openly?
Yeah.
But that's there. And initially, people are like, "Oh, all right, I was talking about this, and how come I'm getting ads about it?" And now everyone knows it's
Exactly.
algorithms, you
Yeah.
know, and your phone's listening to you.
Yeah. So, yeah, when you're when there's so much content online, you're flooded with every kind of content. And again, we were talking about empathy. So, do you think it is slowly and steadily desensitizing us? Because, even like, I'll give my example here. And I feel really scared, when you're on Twitter and I am very vocal about, the genocide that is happening, you know, in more than one continent. Okay. There's so many things and issues that we see every day, and I'm really afraid that I'm being desensitized, because sometimes I just scroll past it, and then I'm like, no, it shouldn't be like that. So how do we counter that? Are we getting desensitized?
Um, I feel that if you see something very often, it there is a risk of desensitization, but I do have to hand it to the people who are raising their voice against this genocide and for Palestine and all of that, because without that we wouldn't really know what's going on, and because of that a lot of people have contributed, a lot of people have donated towards the cause, and I think so. So it's sometimes I feel that shocking the system is a good idea just to wake people up sometimes. So yeah, so I feel that even if it comes at the cost of desensitization. So,
And I think that's one good thing about digital media, I would say. This access to information from the source.
yeah,
As I said, the media gives us whatever it wants to give us. But from the source, when you're looking at people, and we've all, when the Palestine issue started 3 years ago, we've all been following this
Yeah.
10-year-old girl, Renard, and I'm following her, and she's grown up literally in the 3 years that I've been following her. Um, and this is right from the ground, and there was no way we could have got that information on TV or newspapers. So I think desensitization in any case happened, even before social media, because the world's a
yeah,
mess, It's been a mess for many years. So I think in
yeah.
any case, and if you live in Pakistan, desensitization just happens by default
And
because
desensitization, it happens in real time if you live in Pakistan, because it gives, yeah,
exactly. Because I go
staying
for
away.
3, 4 days and I'm like, one big reason why I don't want to live there is just my heart will always be like, okay, this is not good, this is not good, and this is so
Yeah,
unfair, and
yeah.
why is there so much inequality? So yeah, it's and over time, if you live there, you just become desensitized.
Oh,
So
you're
Yeah.
that was
absolutely
there. You
right.
can't blame social media for that, but social media has actually helped, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and social media has really helped bringing people, making people accountable, especially in countries like Pakistan, where people used to flout the law and, get away with certain things, but now they can't because harassment, for example,
Yes.
men were getting away with harassment all the time, and now, I mean, there's still a lot of harassment, but I'm so glad that that uh, smartphones exist where they can record what's going
And
on, and at
especially
least,
in the corporate sector as well, Awais, because
exactly, not just, yeah,
the
exactly,
women
yeah,
speak up and tweet or say
Yeah.
yeah,
something on
And
different.
from our countries, it's so refreshing to see women out there
Yeah.
speaking,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and this won't happen in real time because you
Yes.
know how bad it is. One latest example is India, the cockroach, this whole thing,
Oh,
the
yeah,
student thing.
yeah.
If
That
social
is
media hadn't
fabulous.
been there,
That was
we
all
wouldn't know
social
about it.
media.
This campaign wouldn't be as big as and I think Modi doing a really bad, video, maybe his start of his downfall. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think social media has its pluses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It definitely does. Yeah.
It gives us hope. I was speaking to another author, Geeti Chandra, who we were doing this session on decolonizing trauma. And one thing, we were talking about generational trauma that, people, South Asian people, are undergoing that. And maybe Gen X, not Gen X, we're Gen X, Gen Zs are the ones who might take us out from that generational trauma and fascist regimes.
They were raised by us. They were raised by
Yeah,
us. So
exactly.
pat on the back.
Yes. Absolutely.
But but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it does. Everything in life comes with a cost, I think. So does technology. So there
Yeah.
are certain costs to be paid. We just have to understand. We just have to judge, and maybe try not to let those
Yeah.
costs overweigh the benefits. So that's the thing, I think. So a
I think
balance.
people are realizing that, there are now holidays where there's no internet
Oh,
and
yeah.
people pay to go on those holidays.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. And a lot of people don't check their messages after like 8 p.m. or something, like 7 p.m.
yeah.
Yes.
and they'll reply to you the next day. I try to enforce that rule as well as much as I can. I mean, I won't check WhatsApp messages, work messages at least after a certain point, and I'll just reply in the morning, because even though I have seen the message, I'll not reply, because it's good to have boundaries,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people are starting to realize that.
I
I
need to
think,
train myself.
yeah,
I'm
I think it's all relatively new. So we're still finding our way around it. And not just new, it's constantly evolving as well.
It's evolving. Yeah, yeah.
Like 20 years ago, 18 years ago, there was just Facebook, and that was such a novelty.
Yeah.
And now look at what we have. I mean, the God knows, I'm not even aware of what else is there besides
I
Instagram
know.
and
I mean,
Twitter.
I
And
can only handle a
so,
certain number of. I mean, there's so many social media
exactly.
platforms now. I mean, I don't even open Facebook now because I just don't have the time. It's just
Yeah,
Instagram and Twitter. Twitter I don't use anymore because it's just become ridiculous.
I know.
And TikTok I use a little bit just to
Elon Musk happened to Twitter. So, yeah.
yeah, exactly, and it basically he ruined it. So
You
I'm
should check
mostly
out
on
Blue Sky.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I joined Blue Sky, I joined Threads and everything, but it's not the same. And
You
I
join
don't.
everything and then,
I'm just afraid that I'll get hooked. I am on Threads and Blue Sky, but
yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
I,
not joining Threads because I know I'll be drawn into it. And
exactly.
now I've joined the Substack I've been using, and honestly,
yeah,
there's some really good content there. And before you know it,
exactly.
you're just
Yeah,
on your phone reading it for the next 40 minutes or something.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
That's the
that.
thing. I haven't joined Substack now, but yet,
You
but
should, Awais. You should.
I know, but
That's your
that's the
thing.
thing. What you say that I'll end up spending a lot of time there because those posts are very long on Substack.
But
Yeah.
you're a writer. That's your thing.
Yeah, yeah, I should be.
Hmm.
But anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. So my last question to both of you is, um, how do the relentless speed of digital media flatten complex histories into viral sound bites? And what does that do to our collective memory? Because there's so much going on, and I want to connect this with what we were talking about. Nahid, I think you said, how through social media, there's so many things. And yes, Aves, you also said something about, how accountability, we can see more accountability, when in terms of, if it's women being harassed, and so on and so forth. So while that is happening, there's so much of information, so much overload of information. How do we, how do we um navigate, uh and see how, deep and reflective storytelling takes place, and how memory is not eroded or erased?
Um, well, yeah, it's a very deeply complex question. I think I'm not that intelligent to be answering this,
You
but
are, you are, you are.
but I don't know. I like I said earlier as well that it's all about creating a balance. Just like anything, everything in the world, there has to be a certain balance to it. And if we don't want to erode the history, then we have to learn it, and we have to push our children and ourselves to learn the history the hard way, not the social media way or the Google way. We have to, embrace it like in books and stuff. If we want to retain memory or history in that sense. But then again, I do feel that social media has not social media, but any internet technology, digital media of all types, have really improved our understanding of certain things, even history. And sometimes when you can't really can't remember something that you've studied years ago, you can just find out in like this. It just takes a button, it just takes a click, and and you have that information.
Yeah.
So I feel that has really improved our lives as well. But like everything in life, we have to understand when it is too much. And I feel that we're getting to that point where things are becoming a bit much, especially with the AI and everything. When technology risks the livelihood of so many people, then there's something wrong with it, and it
Yeah.
has to be tackled, and there has to be some law in place to prevent that from happening. Because if all those people who have lost their jobs, where they're supposed to go from here, and what kind of service are we doing to the planet or the people if we are basically snatching their livelihoods first of all, and what we're also doing is we're damaging the planet as well. Water is in shortage anyway, and we're
Yeah.
using vast amounts of water to power data centers for what? For
Yeah.
stupid questions that we ask AI. I mean, people ask the most ridiculous questions. Uh, I don't, I don't know. I don't think AI is useful at all. At right now, 99% of the people who use AI use it for fun. They have no
Yeah.
idea what they're doing with AI. They're just wasting time. They're wasting time asking ridiculous questions like, "Can you tell me more about myself? Why am I like this? When will I become successful?" These are the kind of stupid questions people are
Yeah.
asking. Can you tell me
Yeah.
when I will hit the jackpot? I mean, what? How on earth will that AI, will that robot tell you how you'll hit the jackpot or whatever? So this is the thing. 99% of the people are wasting that, wasting resources, wasting water, and good educated people are losing jobs over it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there has to be
Yeah.
a point where we know that it's too much.
True.
Yeah.
Destroying a real world for an artificial world, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
What was your question? Because now I've forgotten.
So
Remind me.
basically the question was, how,
Flattening of history.
yeah,
Flattening of history.
yeah,
Yes. Okay, listen, one good thing again that's happened is Gen Z, who don't like to read big books. There are some good content creators as well. I've got young nieces, and they've learned about, Pakistan history, for example, partition history, through Instagram, where, it's a potted sort of history of, what happened during partition or whatever. So there is that, that's an introduction. That's not an in-depth knowledge, but at least that gets them hooked. That gets them interested into something useful. The danger obviously is there are all kinds of content creators.
Yeah.
And if they are again using AI to create content, and AI is stealing stuff from all kinds of content creators, what's correct and what is not correct is always, it has to
True.
be questioned.
Yeah.
So in our day-to-day lives, what I think we should do is we should be selective about who we follow. Just because, okay, it's a good picture, let's follow her, or it's a whatever. And don't do that. Follow people selectively, because when you follow people, so you're given content that's sort of curated for you. And then, I think that introduction, if people with younger children, that introduction has to be followed up with more detailed conversations. It again comes down to, conversation, real life conversations, introduction to books. And I think this whole thing about under 16s being banned from social media, which is happening now, it's already happened in like 5 countries around the world.
Yeah.
I think that's going to, if it's really implemented, that's going to show an impact in the next 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
Because they need to be weaned off
Yeah.
technology. Because what happened during COVID was also, I think that took a lot of young people away from books and
Yes.
paper and writing, because they were studying at home, and it was all on. And then they were I have nephews who live in London, and they're young, and they talk to their friends on Teams. And why are you doing that? But it started during COVID, and they just
That's
sort
what
of
my kids do as
continued.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's why.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in. But again, as Wes keeps saying, balance, 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 and that's the most difficult thing to do in real life, in any case,
Yeah.
even for
Yeah.
adults.
Yeah.
So, Gen Z is after all younger kids.
Okay.
So,
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Awais, Naheed, for this lovely conversation, which is really something close to my heart. There are so many topics, and with each session, I'm saying that, but talking about technology and AI and its impact, it's really important to have a conversation on that. So thank you so much, both of you.
Pleasure. It was
thank
really
you.
nice being here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.